What you doing?
Photo contest winners today. Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Shooting Monday number 78. My name is Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com.
And I'm Cathy Azar from Catherine Azar Photography.
So what did you do this week, Cathy?
I've had a really busy week. My son's been playing all-star baseball, so I've been doing a lot of action baseball shots, which you know is one of my favorite things to do. I also created a panoramic through my lab that I use for those things, Candid Color Systems. They come out with a 10 by 30 panoramic, so I take individual shots of the boys, and then we do really cool panos with them, and I'll show you that once it is processed.
Make sure you send me a couple of those baseball photos. I'll put them up in the show.
Okay, good.
All right.
And I did some more real estate pictures. I met with my senior. I'm starting a senior representative program, and so I met with her, and she has a horse, so we're planning out this really crazy, awesome shoot, and I'm really excited about that. And then my very favorite thing this week was shooting my son's all-star game, and he had his very, very first home run. And so I have the actual shot, and then as he's running the bases, I have as he's running the whole bases, I have all the shots. And then my husband's the coach, so I have a picture of them high-fiving, and the smiles on both of their faces are just so awesome. So as Greg and I were talking about this earlier, this is when opportunity meets a lot of practice, meets experience, meets knowledge. So I've been waiting for years for this moment to catch his first home run on camera, and I'm really excited.
The best part about that is that you didn't even think about it. You just did it.
No, I just did it because I've been doing it for so long.
You're to the point where you can just do it. You don't have to think about it. You have to concentrate. You're just going with the flow, and you don't have to say,
my settings were right. I knew, exactly. I knew what I was doing.
You're not chimping too much.
Nope.
You're right on the ball.
Nope. Right on the ball. I was right on the ball. No, he was right on the ball, which went sailing over the fence.
Yeah,
so that's really exciting.
Cool. Well, my week was kind of boring. I spent the whole week working on client websites, so that was on the boring side. But
and you said
it's exciting on some levels because it is fun stuff for me. It's very challenging doing that stuff, and it's
making progress.
It's fun for me. You know what I mean? To be able to help other businesses with their websites and stuff. But at the same time, as far as photography is concerned,
you weren't shooting. But you said you were doing some research on all the Creative Cloud stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of Creative Cloud stuff. Now, they have this file sync thing. They give you up to 20 gigabytes of free file sync in between devices, and it'll also sync to your phone or your iPad or whatever.
So does that mean if you're loading images onto one, like on your computer, it's automatically going to show up on your iPad and your phone? Okay.
Correct. A lot of people, especially like me, you're going to have multiple devices. Like I have, the main devices that I'm using are my desktop computer, which is a PC running Windows 7. Then I have my Mac laptop, you know, my MacBook, and my iPad and my iPhone. And I hate the fact that the primary storage is all in one place on my primary computer, which is my desktop. In other words, my hard drive isn't very big on that computer because it's a really fast SSD drive. Okay. It's not a very big drive. It means I have to pull all those big, huge files over to this other folder in order to make them sync. So I'm hoping that Adobe is listening, and I'm going to tweet this out to them saying, hey, we really need to do something about this. Then this other file syncing program that I use, it stinks too because it takes forever to sync in between one place and another, which is actually the Microsoft OneDrive thing because, I don't know. And then Dropbox isn't big enough that, you know, they only give you, what, 2 gigabytes, and that's not enough space.
I have a ton because I brought a lot of people to Dropbox, so every time you add people to Dropbox, you get more space, so I have a ton. But still, do you think there'll be a time when we're just accessing things from the cloud and we don't have to store anything on our...
You definitely can, but it takes a little bit of work.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? For someone like yourself, it takes some work in order to... You know what I mean? You need something easy. You need an easy platform that just works.
And that's what I want.
For me, yes, I can make a better program and make something that actually works for me, but then there's also always glitches and problems, and you know, and I can do it, but that doesn't mean I want to do it. I don't want to spend the time always diagnosing issues and figuring out what's going on. I just want it to work.
And that's one of those days. What we should do is go to my house too. We've been talking about this for a while.
We need to.
Because my computer is running so slow. Like Lightroom is just chugga, 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 chugga. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know how to fix that. So.
Well, what we need to do to your computer is I was telling Jack this too, we need to put an SSD hard drive in yours is what we should do. Okay. That'll make a big difference in your computer. Between that and some additional memory in there, that would make a big difference in a computer.
Good, because it makes me nuts when I have to wait for an image to load or something.
Yeah, those two things would make a big difference in an older machine.
Let's do it.
Okay, one of these days.
No, soon.
So other Adobe and Apple stuff, no more Aperture, no more iPhoto. It's only going to be photos. Why?
Because, well, we'll see what Photos comes up with.
Exactly.
I learned on iPhoto. It's what I cut my teeth on before I learned Lightroom. And for a basic photographer, even if it's just mom and dad, I think it's a decent program for just making some small tweaks. So to see that go away, I just think that's sad. But I love Apple products. We have some different.
I have a feeling that that the new Photos app is going to be pretty minimal. I don't think it's going to be super advanced. Like, I think it's going to be maybe somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not. It'll probably still have some basic albums, very basic editing, and I think that's going to be about it.
So you think it's going to be more like an iPhoto than an Aperture?
It's going to be on the iPhoto end.
I think the information I've read about it is a lot of people are concerned that you can't take one program and make it good for both novices and
well, apparently there weren't enough Aperture users out there, so they don't have a choice. You know, if there aren't people buying it, people using it, of course it's going to disappear.
Once it comes out, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah. So that was one thing. If you are switching away from Aperture into Lightroom, there's an article that we had found on Lightroom Killer Tips that talked about what the Aperture user needs to know about Lightroom when you're switching. Some of the big things where they store your photos, no projects, albums versus collections, smart albums. Interesting article that kind of clues you in.
That's the one thing I really liked about iPhoto is how intuitive it was, and it's stored. I like having the pictures right there versus on an off-site. I really like that.
Well, I like in Lightroom because it's the folders. Forget about the whole, where are my photos thing. That's the one thing that really bothers the heck out of me about a lot of applications is they want to hide your stuff somewhere else. And I'm so, I guess you could say, anal about where my stuff goes, and where my files are stored. But it's for good reason, because I have so much stuff that I need to store. And, I have, between backups, I have probably close to 6 or 7 terabytes of data that I'm managing all the time on my own, between photos and other print processing.
Your website stuff.
Yeah, all the website stuff. I have so much data that I need to manage on a regular basis that I can't keep it all on one single drive. I can't rely on those applications to manage all that data, because they want to put it on the primary hard drive, and that doesn't work. I can't keep it there. That drive is only so big. So, anyway. You're laughing at me.
I am.
PetaPixel reminded us, or took note, that most recent Creative Cloud update actually turned on some additional app data gathering, and they have a link on and tells you exactly how to go in and turn that off. I did that. You have to sign in like 3 times or something in order to do it, because you sign in once, then you got to type in your password again. But anyway, you're able to turn that off.
So data gathering meaning what?
Meaning how you use the application.
Okay.
So you can, basically, they're going to look at, what tools you're using, how often you're using it.
So you don't want them to gather that information. Gotcha.
It's just more traffic. It's just, in my mind, it's just more stuff that I don't need to send them.
I just didn't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's basically what's going on. All right. Another thing about the new Creative Cloud is Adobe Lightroom allows users to continue to access after your license expires. So for some reason, if you decide to turn it off, you're using Lightroom for a while, and you get rid of Creative Cloud, or you don't pay the bill, or whatever it may be, you're actually still able to use some of the tools and some of the things inside of Lightroom, which I was surprised at. I figured it would just shut right off and be done. So, interesting.
Indeed.
I had a friend of mine ask me about shooting nighttime photos because he's going on vacation. And Cathy was nice enough to find an article about that.
DIY photography, a complete checklist for shooting nighttime time-lapse sequences. So it couldn't be any more perfect for Dan.
Exactly.
So Dan, right here, we're going to put the link for you. And I love checklists. My kids will laugh at this comment because I have checklists all over the place that I cross off on my list and on my whiteboards and whatnot. So he has preparation, setup, shooting checklists. Then he has all sorts of bullet points all the way through about what to do, how to prepare. Very, very, very specific. So I think if you take a look at this and follow the directions, you should be in good shape.
Yep. And what I would do if he's going on vacation somewhere where he's probably not going to have internet service, so what I would do if I were him is make a PDF copy of this, save it onto his phone. You can put it inside of iBooks, and then you'll have the complete checklist and all the different steps and everything for this. And he can read over it when he's sitting there and trying to figure out the camera because he's not a I shouldn't say a real photographer, everybody's a photographer, but you know he's a young guy, he's new in photography, that kind of thing, and you know he's probably going to be using a point and shoot camera with manual settings, so it's going to be pretty basic. So
for those of us who don't know how to take a thing on the internet to make a PDF, how do you do that?
If you're on a Mac, you can actually just go to File and Print in whatever your browser is, and then in the bottom left-hand corner there's a PDF option, and you can do Save as PDF.
Oh, and then you just save it, and you don't actually print it.
Yep. If you're on a PC, I don't think you're going to have that option inside of your browser, so unless you have the full version of Acrobat. So I would just do a Google search for Make PDF from website. Gotcha. And you'll probably find a page of a website out there that will do it automatically for you.
Or if you're old school, you can just print the whole thing out.
But you know what? The younger crowd, we don't want to carry any more stuff than we have to. He's already taken his phone with him.
I gotcha.
You know, so. So, two really awesome DIY videos that we found. The first one was, I forget the gentleman's name. He's actually from Sergeant Reed, U.S. Air Force photojournalist. That's not
DIY. You said DIY. We can't do that.
Sorry, not DIY. BTS, behind the scenes, is what is the acronym that I was looking for. Yes, thank you. Anyway, it was a very interesting article and little video on him. There's actually a video posted over on Vimeo talking about how he does it and what he does, and you see him in the cockpit and you see him moving and talking about the G-forces that he's dealing with and the setup and the equipment that he's using.
Sometimes trying to shoot just regularly is hard, but imagine shooting with the G-force and up in the air you see him, how still he has to hold that. It's amazing. It's really cool, and the images are just unbelievable.
Yep. He talks about the gear that he is wearing because he has to wear a helmet, he has to wear flight gloves, why he's wearing black gloves because of the reflection of the canopy above his head. And I was thinking about that. Well, how are you getting this, you know, these images through that canopy? I'm sure he's shooting RAW, and I'm sure he's having to adjust them a lot because of that canopy. It's going to have a film on it, and so you're going to need to adjust some of those images.
Very well thought out, everything that he's doing. And that's why I said definitely not do it yourself.
No, although I really want to try this. I have a friend who's a pilot, and I'm really trying to get something like this to
Pilot's a little different than that kind of pilot.
Of course.
The other one is a PetaPixel article from Nat Geo. Nat Geo photographer takes you along on a dive with massive Goliath groupers. And these fish...
They look huge.
They look... It's the Greg grouper. It's the Greg of fish. Just these massive fish that kind of just hang out. They're really cool. And shows how he went about getting these images as well. Very neat.
Yep, neat stuff. So we'll link to all that stuff as we always do.
What would you rather do? Would you rather go underwater and get the fish or go up in the air?
Oh, no, in the air. Definitely. Yeah. No doubt. That's a no-brainer to me. I mean, of course I'd do the underwater thing, you know, if it came up, but... I'm
not sure. I went up, my father-in-law used to be a pilot, had a small plane, and he took my husband at that time, fiance or boyfriend, up in the air, and I was right behind him in this small plane, and we hit some turbulence, and there's a little dial in the front. Some pilot out there can tell us what it is, and it shows how your plane is positioned in the sky.
Yeah.
And I could look over his shoulder and see the thing going like this. I'm in the back, and I don't get motion sick, but oh. So the idea of like pulling some G's.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll do that so well.
Why not? I'm sure we could do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could do it. So I think we had 1 or 2 Cazillion questions. We'll get in with them next.
We have Dave, aka Dave TV 13, has a question about wedding attire and how to ask the question to the client about what you should wear, and he wants it from both male and female point of view. Well, you may recall I don't usually shoot weddings. I've done some, but I do some formal events, and it's very similar. I think it's very, very important how you dress as a photographer, even if you're not shooting weddings. I always dress very professionally. For a wedding or an event, I tend to dress mainly in black or in navy, dark colors, because you want to blend into the background. I think I've talked before about a wedding I went to where the photographer was in bright orange, and I was really surprised because that draws attention to you versus the people who you're trying to capture and shoot. So my other pet peeve for photographers, and I'm sorry, Greg, but so many guy photographers have terrible shoes. Good shoes. Again, black, but...
You know what? It's not easy finding big shoes like this. I'm sorry. The size 15 or 16 is not easy to find.
15 or 16. That's what
Yes.
size shoe... Well,
They're not easy to find.
I guess you have to have a strong understanding, as my mother would say, in order to support you. But I think good shoes are important. Just being very clean cut, professional. For women, having their hair neat and organized, not just in a messy ponytail somehow. I just think it shows how you treat yourself, and how you dress shows how you treat your business.
Yep.
And so you want to be very professional.
What I'll typically do for a wedding, and I think at some point he asked about talking to the bride or
client,
groom,
absolutely.
talking to the client. So I'll typically say something to them. Hey, just black pants and black shoes, and dress shoes typically as a man is what I'll be wearing. And then usually it's this shirt. I actually have a couple of these shirts with my logo on them, and it's dressy enough where I can get away with it and blend in. I stopped a long time ago wearing the suit or the full tux or anything like that, because I do sweat a lot, and the coat gets in the way and all that stuff. So it's easier for me to shoot like this, and I could be a little bit more flexible and move around, and I think it's professional enough and it looks good. So.
Yeah, and I was in a very formal wedding last year, and the photographer looked fantastic. He just had black dress pants, really nice black belt, and just a black long sleeve shirt that was on the
before
nicer
I had these
ends.
shirts with my logo on them, that's exactly what I would do, was just a black long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Indeed. And like you said, talking to the bride and groom, a lot of photographers have checklists and questionnaires for the bride and groom about how fancy they're going to be. So some of them might want you to wear a tux, but some of them...
Yep. Typically they'll say something, but I will almost always bring it up when I'm talking to them and interviewing and
Very smart.
getting it all together. So one other question, and this is something that... I don't know how to put this, but I'm definitely on the Nikon side, but let me ask the question here. So Ramon says, I've been doing photography on and off for 35 years. I'm mostly self-taught. I'll be asking lots of questions. I know you're a Nikon man and I love Canon just because the shutter sound is quiet. Why do you prefer Nikon over Canon? Pros and cons. Well, the number one thing for me on a Nikon camera is the way it feels in my hands. The controls, just the body shape, all those things are just very, very intuitive. I like the fact that just about all the controls and the way that the menus work and all those things are consistent from the bottom end, like D3000, 3200, all the way up to the brand new D4, D4S, D3, D3S, all those cameras. The menus and the things are all consistent all the way through. And I like that. I can pick up anybody's camera and it'll just work. And it's just like, going from, one brand of car to the next. You know what I mean? There are controls and consistent all the way through. That's why I've always liked the Nikon. Plus, I think they have better glass than Canon. Not a lot of people know this, but the first lenses for Canons were actually Nikkor glass.
Really?
Yes. So that's Nikon started making glass and lenses and optics before they started making cameras.
Is there anything that you like better about Canon?
Not really, because I just pick one up and I'm lost.
Yeah.
I hate the round dial thing, and I feel like it takes forever to select a focus point. You know, the basic things are what really that I need them to be consistent and work in a certain way. And I just don't get the whole dial thing that's on the back of them, and the menus seem to change.
So some people love that. So if,
of course it is.
I was at a wedding recently that was shot by a friend of mine, and she asked me to take her camera and shoot something that she had done. She made a little booklet for the bride and groom, and she wanted a picture of it in her hands, which was really cool. But she handed me the camera, and I went, I felt like an idiot.
I do that with people all the time when they hand me like a point and shoot camera or something. I'm
absolutely.
Like, I don't know how to use this thing. You know, because it's true. I'm used to what I'm used to, and used to at least a Nikon DSLR, and you hand me something else and I'm lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I even go back to my old D50 that I learned how to shoot on, and all of the options, or many of the options, are like in the menu. You've got to fuss for them, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I choose Nikon over Canon.
I think it's personal preference.
It is definitely personal preference.
Outstanding.
Yep. But
products.
Here's the thing. You need to go and you need to try them both.
Yes.
If you don't have a camera store in your area that you can go and try them out and maybe borrow them or rent them from, go to a place like lenslens.com and borrow them from there, or rent them from there. You know, get the Canon one week and the Nikon the next week. Play with them both, and then make that purchase and make that decision and get a basic lens. What you think you're going to end up buying in a Canon kit and in a Nikon kit, and then try them both out and see which one you like better.
Yeah, and that's just for newbies. Ramon is a Canon guy, so he already knows what he likes.
So yeah, try that out, and I'll also put a link over to lenslens.com. They, I think they were giving us some kind of a special deal, so I'll put that down in the bottom of the video here to let you know what's going on. So
I want to borrow a 24-70 from them to see how I like a different model than mine.
We need to set that up.
Yeah.
I'll get a hold of Matt and set that up for the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So next up are our Flash
contest winners. Okay, our third place winner is Matthew Shay. Looks like could be his son, perhaps. Oh, not a cutie patootie. He reminds me of my little guy with the brown eyes, and we love the emotion that it evokes. We'd love to hear the backstory about why he's
looks like he was probably sitting there and taking pictures of him for a long time.
I'm done, Finn and Dad. I'm done.
Yep. As another child of a photographer who is actually in the room right now could attest, she's giving us a sign. Kids can definitely get tired of being subjects and models all the time. So
my kids now go like this.
This little guy's probably getting tired pretty quickly.
So I like the use of flash, the way it splashes on his face just perfectly. I love the emotion.
And I don't mind that it's a little hot either.
No, I don't either. And the shadow from his sleeve, I don't mind. I would like to see a little more of the crown of his head, but that's just something very, very minimal.
Or it could just be a little tighter crop.
Yes, you could crop it a little bit tighter, but all in all, I love the picture, and it reminds me of my little boo. So, he would kill me if I straight up. He hit 12, and I'm not allowed to call him nicknames anymore. He would kill me. No telling him, daughter, sitting behind the camera.
So, yeah, that's a good one. By the way, when I say hot, I mean the flash being a little bit too strong. Just a term that I've
tiny bit.
Used, and not everybody knows what that term is. So. So that just means it's a little bit too bright, a little strong sometimes, but in this case I think it works, and it just helps to bring your eyes into the fact that it is so strong.
In the background, he says, you're gonna have to help me with this, Greg. He uses a Yongnuo.
I don't know how to say it either.
Flash, so it must be an off-brand.
Yep.
Off camera, on a stand, leaned over close to the subject. He was holding it with his left hand. Pop-up flash used to trigger the main light.
Yeah, very good.
Matthew Shay. Thanks, Matthew.
Now, Francis posted a couple of really good images, but I'm not going to choose both of his images in one contest. So
spread the wealth.
Yeah, so this was one that we really liked that we wanted to put in there, which was a macro image of a dandelion. He calls it releasing the seeds. Interesting image. Uses SB700, bounced through a medium-sized umbrella. Thank you for posting it. Unfortunately, it's not as good, at least we didn't think, as this other one that he did, calling it Then and Now.
Love this.
Which definitely took some additional Photoshop, or as he says, GIMP work. And Cathy asked me this question earlier, what is GIMP? GIMP is a free or open source photo editor, kind of like Photoshop, and it's been gaining popularity as of late since Photoshop went subscription. Anyway, very interesting image. I love, it's basically, this is one of those things that you have to come up with the whole concept and the idea and then just make it happen.
Creativity, I just love it.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how he put it together. I love the little bit of raindrops that he added. The only thing that he could take a step even farther with this is do it again and do it outside, actually in the rain.
Oh, that would be interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if he was under an overhang, or maybe he's in a garage and seeing the rain in the background, something else, take it a step farther and actually do something like this in the rain, and then have him pointed one direction and the other, and then flip it just like he has it here, so that you see a mirror image, you know what I mean, of it in the middle. I'd love to see a version 2 of something like this, but it's still a really cool image showing the book versus reading on the phone. So
and I think the rain is pretty realistic. So some of the add-ons or whatever are not so great.
You need to see it close.
He also said that the speed light is actually in the umbrella, which you probably already figured, but thought we should explain.
And if you look at it closely, you also see just a little bit of light on the top of the umbrella, which also helps.
Do you think it's coming through the bottom of the umbrella?
Probably, yeah. Actually, yeah, after I think about it, yes, it's probably there, coming through, but it just helps to separate that little bit of area there.
Absolutely, yep. And the winner, drum roll please, is Rich P. Georgia at the beach. I love this. It's different than anything I would take, well, just because I don't usually do modelly kind of things, but I like the colors. They look like they're altered a little bit, maybe in Photoshop. Maybe
definitely, he's got some kind of a filter or something on it, yep.
But I like it. I like the way the flash was used. I like the model's expression and pose. It's not overly posed. Often in photography, we talk about when posing, if it bends, bend it. He's bent it all. Her elbows are bent, her knees are bent. But at the same time, she looks relaxed but serious. It's summertime, and I haven't gotten my feet in the sand yet. So, like I said, my son's been playing baseball all summer, so we couldn't go anywhere until the tournament was over. But I love it. What do you have to say about it?
I like the fact that he kept the horizon line down low. A lot of images with a strong horizon line like this have it in the wrong place. You never want to put it up around the face or anything like that, or the shoulders. You want to bring it down low whenever possible, and the placement of that horizon line in this image is good.
Well, it hits right at her waist, which almost makes her waist look like it's coming in even more, so it's perfect. Yeah,
you got to be careful with those horizon lines in shots like this, and I think it works very well on this one. So we will be printing, oh, we forgot. I forgot to put the sign up.
Well,
whoops.
While you do that,
sorry,
he said
guys.
it was taken with a Nikon 610.
Yep.
My camera. Sigma 24-70 2.8, which one am I end up being? I might be with you. A one single SB600 triggered by a PT04 from eBay, 100% power, shooting through a 24-inch softbox on tripod camera, left 2 meters high, and sandbags to keep it all in place at the beach.
You need sandbags because there's almost always wind on the beach. Yeah, that's a good thing. So once again, these are our photo assignment winners. Again, that photo assignment is sponsored by Epson. The winner, Richard, will be getting a 16x20 of his print, and then the runners-up, which were Matthew and Francis. Yes, I remember those names correctly. Those guys will be getting 11x14 prints. The next one we're already working on. We have some ideas, and I think Cathy's going to go crazy and like burst on this one.
It's very exciting.
Hopefully it's going to work out. We're really hoping to get a lot of entries, but
it's going to be different. So bring your creative juices with you.
It's going to be an interesting one. We want to see something, and
don't give away
we're going to talk to
next
Epson.
Week.
We're going to talk to Epson, see if we can make it maybe next week. It might take an extra week.
Okay.
Might take an extra week, so it'll be coming up very soon. And actually, we have the next 2 kind of planned out.
Getting there. We've got some good ones for you.
Yeah, we have the next 2 already planned out and some ideas.
Give me a hint. Both of them are right up my alley.
So they should be fun. Thank you, Epson, for sponsoring those. For the winners, make sure you send me over your digital files so that I can get them printed for you and out in the mail.
And thanks for all the support. You guys have sent some fantastic images. It was great to look through them.
Definitely, definitely. And the contest may be over, but that doesn't mean you can still have to stop posting photos to this thread.
Good.
If you have a cool photo that you want to post that you've done with Flash, feel free to post it into this thread and keep it going. It's not a problem to keep them going. In fact, I did notice that there were a few that were regularly posted in and viewed, so that's a good thing.
And how about question of the week? What do you like about your Canon? What do you like about your Nikon?
That sounds good. We can put that up. That'll work.
Why do you like the camera system that you've chosen? Or if you choose something else, Sony's an up-and-comer. There's some other camera systems. What do you shoot and why do you like it? Or what do you not like about it too? Yeah.
Good and bad. Very good. I think that's it for today. So thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See ya. This is basically their file sync. And I hate the fact that it's only on one folder. It's changing the organization. You have to turn your phone off.
I know. I knew that was going to happen.